Hey, welcome to the Weathered Soul podcast. You got Bruce the Weathered Soul here and Doug. It's a Monday night, November 9th. How's it going, Dougie?
It goes pretty well.
It goes pretty
What
well. And
else
I
can
see
I
that
say?
Dougie's way happy over there because his candidate won and my candidate
It wasn't
got.
my
I
candidate.
okay. I'm sorry.
Eh.
The United States' candidate, our
No, you know what?
president.
I won the election this time.
You,
I picked every one of them right,
you picked
except
every
for
one of it, even all the
except for
propositions.
yeah, except for one.
Which one
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you miss?
What was the one? 20 something, 21, 22? Yeah,
21 or 22, the rent
yeah.
control or the gig one.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have a
I
new
think it
president.
was the gig. I think no, the gig one took right.
Yeah, the gig one won for the drivers.
Yeah, okay. So we voted for
Yeah.
the drivers.
We're talking California politics, guys, here on Weather Soul
Yeah. We
Podcast.
voted for the. What was the other one you said?
21, I think,
the
was
rent.
the rent control one
Oh no, we wouldn't have voted.
that everybody was voted
Yeah,
against. Even the
we
governor
wouldn't
of
have voted
California
for
was
that.
voted
Yeah,
against.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
That's free enterprise, man. You can't.
yeah. But anyway, hey, so we're here on the Weather Soul podcast. Again, we took the week off in honor of my son who passed away a year ago. Just give you a recap of what went on last week is that it was really, really kind of therapeutic for me. I believe it was kind of therapeutic for everybody in the family, and so we celebrated by going out on Monday, the day of his the day that he passed away. We went to the pier, the Santa Cruz wharf, Santa Cruz Pier, and I spread some ashes out into the water and on the pier, illegally, of course, because that's the way I do things. You know, I kind of exercise my freedom the way I want to, but I want to make sure that, you know, because I still fish there, that whenever I go there, that Anthony's there. So we spent an hour or so over at the pier and went to his favorite candy shop and watch some of the guys fish around there. So it was pretty therapeutic. I mean, it was very emotional for me that day, as it was for all of us. Angelica, my daughter, his sister, bought us some memorial T-shirts that we wore that day, and then I'll be framing that one, and that'll be part of the new AJM studios when me and Doug finally move into the new studio, which I'm hoping for pretty soon. but it was really a good week. You know, I took a couple of days off, and the election happened the next day, so I went and did my diligence and went and voted at the polls. You know, and went in there with my usual attitude of voting. The great thing about election day for me is that I finally get to be able to be one of the 1%, and that makes me so happy. And when I explain to you what the 1% is, you'll probably laugh. But I get to be the 1% because I'm only the 1% who didn't vote for Biden or or President Trump. And so I voted for Joe Jorgensen, and she got, I think, 1.1%. I think actually it went down to 0.9% or something like that by the time it was all said and done. I'm not sure really how it really shook out, but my candidate wasn't even a dog in the race, but that's okay. I feel better about it. I voted for peace and freedom and not dropping bombs on innocent people in lands that we don't belong in. So that's kind of where my political stance is. And but I congratulate everybody out there. I'm so glad. And Dougie and Abby were over at the house on Saturday, and we celebrated. I mean, you know, you had to celebrate because it was to me, you know, no matter what the news says right now, more people showed up at this election than almost in the whole history since 1900 or something like that. There was that many people that showed up for the election, and to me, that's a great big win. And I can't be any more happy than that. So when we clink glasses at the table, I was clinking glasses over the overwhelming amount of people that actually went out and voted. Because for me, it's like, if you don't vote, then don't bitch. And so I've reserved my right to bitch about whatever I want to for the next 4 years again. And that's kind of the way it goes. But anyway, we're here on the Weathered Soul podcast. I'm Bruce the Weathered Soul. Right over there is Dougie. Right over there is Dougie. I got to go the other way, Doug. But right over there is Dougie. Say hi, Dougie.
Hi, Dougie.
And we are carried on YouTube Live, and we are also here on Facebook Live, and we got a couple of people up there. We have, if you're doing on YouTube right now, hit that share button, hit that like button, make that little bell ring, and you can subscribe to us, and it'll tell you every time that we come on the air, which is on Monday nights at 7:00. And I just love being here. It's a fantastic thing that we do. Me and Dougie get to shoot the shit, for an hour in front of you guys on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live, and we get to do that on Saturday. But we're drinking a little bit on that day, so it always works good. But we're also brought to you on the audio portion by anchor.fm, and you can get us on anchor.fm/the Weathered Soul podcast. And you can also go to the Facebook site and type in your little search bar on Facebook, the Weathered Soul podcast. Will take you over to the group page where you can join in all the fun and see all my rants and my bitches and all the other crap, because and I speak for Doug, kind of. Say hi, Dougie. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm kind of glad that. Well, you know how I feel.
Yeah.
I'd rather not live in a fascist state. And unfortunately, there's too many people in this country that believe that socialism is so bad that they'll go the polar opposite, which is fascism.
Yeah.
I really didn't like it. So we'll see what happens. I don't have any confidence that there's going to be any revolutionary changes.
Yeah.
Maybe not the kind that you would like to see.
I don't. I have zero.
But I'm glad that hopefully that the ugly, mean rhetoric and the instability of never knowing who's doing what, and incompetent people put in charge of departments they have no right to be in charge of, may end. So I'm looking forward to that as a hopeful outlook. Hopefully civil rights, some civil rights will be reconsidered, as how they're going, so on and so forth. I'm kind of disappointed that the Democrats didn't take the Senate. And I really believe that the defund the police thing is what shot him in the foot. They shouldn't really jumped on that bandwagon. But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Doesn't really much matter now. It is what it is. It's done. Now it's our government. We got to work with it to make it work for us.
Yeah, well, let's talk about let's talk about the Senate real quick and the House. I mean, it doesn't look to me like anything really changed too much. I mean, the Senate race is still up in the air. I mean, I think it's like 48 or 49 right now, with some close races going on in Georgia. I think there's some razor thin
two runoffs.
Stuff going on, 2 runoffs that are going on. I don't think those are going to go until when, like January or something like that.
It's a long time.
I think it's a long time before that goes. And then the House, of course, I think the House lost some seats as far as the Democrats are concerned. But the 2 big things that really stood out in my mind in this election, because I kind of thought that Biden was going to win. To me, it really didn't matter. My horse in the race wasn't going to win, and my feelings, and everybody out there who listens to this podcast knows my feelings that I'm not optimistic about anything changing, whether it be Trump or whether it be Biden in there. With that said, Kentucky, your favorite state in the whole land, decided that Mitch the bitch McConnell should be back into the to the Senate, and of course he'll probably hold on to his spot as the Senate Majority Leader if the Senate is held by the Republicans. And then our beloved Nancy Pelosi was actually voted back into office here for the House, and I think she's going to be in for a fight this time. I don't know, because politics is weird that way. You got AOC on one side, and she's the ultra progressive in the House, along with Ilhan Omar and a couple other people over there that I think are going to give her a run for her money. I don't know if AOC is actually going to be nominated, but
it may be a good thing. It may be a good thing because my biggest hang up with the Democrats is they got no balls.
Well, I got the biggest.
Nancy Pelosi says something like Donald Trump's a very bad man, and she says it like, with like a wasp. I mean, she says it like she's cussing. Like, oh, I hate to say these words. No, I want somebody going to stand up there and jump up and down and say, no, you're wrong.
Because after the cameras go off, they all go out to dinner and have drinks. So I mean, come on.
Yeah. Talk about stock trades.
Yeah, let's talk about what really happens in Washington. I mean, you talk about, when the window closes and the curtains close, and that's exactly what goes on. I mean, it's just like
we need some good shoe throwing or something,
Another Nikita going like, "They're going to destroy America now. We're going to beat you into the ground, you imperialist dog." Basically that's the way, I really feel that the way that to me, the president means zero to me. It really does. I mean, the president is a freaking puppet as far as I'm concerned. My biggest problem with Trump was not the way that he led; it was the way that he acted and the way that he presented himself. Biden, I followed Biden through his political career as much as I could. Not impressed again with him. He does reach across the aisle. However, I don't think that he's any better than Trump is in race relations or anything like that. With that said, though, what I'll say, well, I mean, just go and you got to look back. We know, me and you know Kamala Harris very well, so we know what she's all about. And I voted for Kamala Harris her first time up, and I wasn't impressed when she got into the state legislature, and I soon tried to vote her out as much as I can. That was a wasted cause, and history is what it is. I mean, everybody wants to talk about the police brutality and everything, and it just things just kind of went weird with this election, but it's weird with every election. One thing that I am really happy about again too, with the election that I think is really positive is that a lot of criminal justice things got taken care, or a couple of criminal justice things got taken care of in California, which I'm not sure how you feel about it because we've never really talked about it, but some felons got their rights back, to vote in elections, which I thought was very important. And some of the bail laws got lightened up. And some other states, drugs were legalized. So the war on drugs is over in some of these states. So up in Oregon now, everybody can go up there and go do heroin and crack and whatever you want to. But I mean, I don't think anybody was waiting to do it.
No.
No, go ahead.
At least, look, there is an unconstitutional federal prohibition on drugs.
Yes.
All right. It's artificially made by a person who owned a newspaper who wanted to cut trees down in Oregon to make his newspaper with, instead of having his newspaper printed on hemp grown by the American Indians.
History lesson, people.
Okay.
His name was William Randolph Hearst.
Oh, is that it? Yeah. Okay. And so really, I mean that like the prohibition on actually all recreational narcotics, okay, um, is just as bad as a prohibition on alcohol was.
Right.
It's just as
Right.
illegal, just as unconstitutional.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but now alcohol is legal, but it's restricted,
Yep.
right?
All
You
right.
can't go out
To a
drinking
point.
and driving, right? You can't be working a piece of equipment. You can't be flying a plane or doing surgery while you're drunk. Well, the same thing would be true, like if you wanted to, whatever, snort a little heroin once in a while.
All
Well,
right.
you snort it on the weekend, and when you go back to your doctor job on Monday, you be sober, right?
That is correct. That is
Yeah,
correct.
and if you don't do that, then we can talk about it. But
Right.
until then,
Right.
there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, right. And I
Yeah.
think it was very important for states to move in that direction. And to me, as a libertarian, as somebody who loves freedom and who loves liberty, that's a huge, huge step, especially on the states that actually did these things. Because most of them, were blue states. I mean, it's not a surprise, but what I'm saying is that it's actually, you're looking at there and everybody says, oh, the Democrats want to restrict you from doing this, restrict you from doing that. Well, you know what? A lot of Democrats are a lot about freedom and liberty, and a lot of Republicans aren't. And I mean, there's a big reason why I haven't
Well,
moved out of California, and one of the reasons why I haven't moved out of California is because I can live relatively free here. And I don't have to worry about looking over my shoulder anymore. When I spark up a joint, in my backyard or grow a plant. I mean, so that's kind of where I'm at with it.
yeah.
I found it in the last couple of election cycles that it's going to be worth staying here and fighting for the more liberties that I can get here in California and on the West Coast. So I mean, it's not that I've turned myself into a Democrat, because I'm not. I still rank myself as a conservative, libertarian, Democrat, progressive. So I mean, kind of, I'm everything all jacked into one, I guess. I mean, Dougie sometimes call me more of a Democrat and a liberal than anything else, but
No, you'd be surprised how many times I call you Republican light behind your
Republican
back.
But no, I am for liberty, and I am disappointed that we had to vote the establishment back in, because the only thing that I think that a Biden victory meant to America is that America saved face on itself. They did not save face in the world, because we're still going to be in Syria. We're still going to be in Afghanistan. We're still going to be in all these places that we don't belong, bombing innocent people with the military industrial complex that unfortunately tells the president and the Senate and the House what to freaking do. And to me,
Oh, well, it's easier to sum
until
that up.
yeah,
They own our
yeah,
government.
right,
They
exactly.
own our government.
Exactly. And until
Right.
that changes, we're not going to have things like Medicare for all. We're not going to have things like universal basic income. Some of the things that libertarians actually, over 70% of Republicans believe that we should have a Medicare for all, or some kind of a national health care system.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's the majority. Okay. And a lot of libertarians, on the other hand, they also believe in universal basic income. But we're not going to get stuff like that, because they are trillion dollar freaking programs. But the problem is that you've got the military industrial complex that just takes trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars to go out, and all we do is nation build and increase our imperialism around the globe. And to me, I'm not for that myself. I'm not.
Yeah, but it is a big problem. All right,
Yeah.
it's a big problem because that the all the industries that the military is involved with, right? All the industries, everything. I mean, just think about it. A lot of innovations come from things that the military wants, and small companies develop it, and then it goes, to a big company or whatever. But Just think about it. All the planes that Boeing builds, all the trucks, GM, all those Hummers, and whatever motors that Ford's making, airplane motors GE's making. It just goes on and on and on and on. It's so interwoven into the fabric of our economy
Yeah, but
that
don't you
it's like,
think?
holy
Yeah.
shit.
But why did we have to accept? Here's one thing that we've really, me and you have never really talked about. So let's just hammer it out right now. Why do you think that we have to be so offensive in our military stance instead of just kind of leaving everybody alone and having a good defense, around our country, whatever we
Oh,
need to
oh, oh.
do, and be a
Chris,
defense, and then be ready to go on the offenses if we ever needed to. I mean, I don't understand why we have to be this bully around the globe that has to be the world police. I just you've explained it to me how it got that way, but you've never
yeah,
explained it to
I
me
don't like
why
the
it has to
idea of the
stay that way.
world. I don't like the idea of the world police thing, but you've got to understand that wars are demos for the equipment that we build, right? So, right, you whatever, Oogle Boogistan wants to attack Flip a Floppy Stan, okay, and they're gonna buy weapons from somebody,
Okay.
okay. If they know you've got the biggest, baddest, kick-ass fighter jet in the world and it's for sale, they're gonna buy it from you. But how else are you
Yeah.
going to know that
Yeah. And I
that
guess
it's
to
worth
show it off,
anything?
right?
Yeah,
So.
right. Unless it's kicked the competition's ass, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that has a lot to do with it.
Okay.
That
Right.
that that helps perpetuate these things, or and even stimulate the need to find new ones. But the world
Yeah.
police thing, like it's just
Well,
at
who
first
deemed
it
us
was
that? I mean.
at first it was for our it was an imperialistic thing, right? That was a big thing. Imperialistic. We're spreading
Mhm.
capitalism around the world and put our fingers out everywhere. Then it became a resource thing. Now it's like we're friends with this country and they got something we need, right? And this other country
Mhm.
wants to, or this other power wants to come in that's not friendly to us,
Right.
right? This other whatever government or whatever wants to take over this country that's not friendly with us. We got to go to war with them,
Right.
right?
Right.
You know, right? Like I'm still trying to figure out what Vietnam was about. Was there gold in Vietnam? Was there oil? Or that was that just a hardware test between, American and Chinese fighting machines?
To me, from the history that I've learned from some other libertarians and some anti-war people, it has always been the U.S. and the other people that are involved in the U.S. politics and power structure and stuff like that have went in and actually took these wars and escalated them up. After the French got
Yeah,
out of Vietnam, I mean, actually, what was happening is you could say that Pol Pot and all these guys were bad people, but they were really actually freedom fighters that were looking to free their people, Mao Zedong and stuff like that. They were there to protect the little guy, and then the big bad US came in because whoever else who was interested in whatever the oil may be or the resources may be said we need to save these things, so the US would go in and along with their allies and stuff like that and bully it until we got into some kind of quagmire that we couldn't get out of. And the same thing that's
yeah,
going on with Afghanistan right now.
right.
But these wars have been perpetuating for 200 years, more than 200 years.
Oh yeah,
Started,
and
yeah, I mean, started with,
yeah,
you started even before, the Civil War. So, I mean, all these things have just been perpetuating on their way
oh
through.
yeah,
And we just basically took over what Britain didn't want to do anymore, what we told Britain that they're not going to do anymore. Because before us,
yeah,
before us, it was the Britons, it was
yeah. Well,
the UK.
that was an empire.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, how much more are we an empire than they are? I mean, so
Well, imperialistic and empire imperial is different, right? Like
yeah,
even all these wars and stuff, like Pol Pot and everything. He might have
mhm,
tried to be fighting against American imperialism, but he didn't win. because there's McDonald's in Saigon, right? Sorry, it didn't work. We're there.
And that's correct. I do realize that, but one of the problems is that we perpetuate these things more and more, and to me, it's only detrimental to us because the thing that upsets me the most, I think, out of everything is that we're just in there and we're just killing people at random. I mean, there's no real, as far as when we're pinpointing, they say we're pinpointing these bombs, to take out the bad guys, and then you find out that we blew up a wedding party of a bunch of innocent people, and then they claim that, because the bad guys were hiding behind the wedding party, and
we don't even know that. I mean, I can
and we don't even
go
know.
a step farther. How about the bad guys killed the wedding party, threw them in the bomb pit, and said, "We did it." You ever think about that?
That's true. So I mean, there's all kinds of things over. So I mean, I don't want to. I hate bad mouthing my company, my country, number one, because I love my country. I love being here. I just don't love the freaking establishment that has grown into this warmongering type situation that we're in, and it really bugs me that happens, man. I'm so sick of it that I just refused. That's one of the things that I refuse to do. I refuse to vote for Biden on this. I refuse to vote to Trump on it. I refused to vote for Trump last time because I just knew that the same thing was going to happen. I mean, there was hope. There was actually hope that Trump was going to be able to
fix something.
To fix something, but the problem is that the military. But like you said, the military-industrial complex owns the government. So he's not without his war crimes either. I mean, he went in there and he also dropped bombs in innocent people's, and I can't stomach that. I can't celebrate a victory with Joe Biden saying that he's the nicer and kinder guy that's going to save face of America around the world when we're still bombing other people. I mean, that's kind of where I'm drawing the line with that.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
Where a lot of this comes from too is, when the United States was in isolation mode. Okay, when we weren't involved in the world before World War I, we didn't have a very big army. We didn't have a very big navy. We didn't have much of anything. We didn't need it because we're just hanging out in our own dirt. We found in a very bad way that it was unwise for us to have been so unprepared, right?
Right.
And then even after World War I, when we thought, there's got to be no more wars now, we fixed everything. We start World War II and we're flying against, Messerschmitts, single mono-winged aluminum airplanes in cloth-covered biplanes.
Right.
Left over from World War I. I mean, it was pretty bad. And of course, we came, back like that. Once our industrial complex turned military. Boy, look at how fast we're turning out planes and boats and everything. They're making boats out of cement.
Making boats. We talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago.
So that paranoia. Right? No, we can't. No. After World War II, no, we can't stop. So the first thing we did is, find Korea. Okay, here's a spot where communism's trying to come in. Nope, got to fight that. Then Vietnam. Here's a spot communism's trying to come in. Got to fight that. Right? And then in the Middle East and
I kind of know how you feel about it because we've talked
all through the Balkans and everything. All the Serbias and all this stuff. I mean, there's bad people doing bad things.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about your patriotic nature and the way that you feel about different things, because of where you grew up, but I'm here on the West Coast. I grew up here. I knew very little about the military industrial complex until basically 9/11. And then I started really engrossing myself into it. And another person that I really engrossed myself into, and where I get a lot of my knowledge from about, what's going on with these wars and how we got there, is Scott Horton. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Scott Horton before, but he's done some like probably a good, I'd say 10 hours of podcast with Pete Quinones, which is a libertarian guy out of the Mises Institute. And I would encourage you to go listen to Free Man Beyond the Wall if you want to hear a history of wars in the United States and why they were fought and what they were fought for and what the outcome of those wars were. Now, it comes from a very anti-war guy. His name is Scott Horton. You can look him up on Google. You can find all of his stuff. It's very good and it's very knowledgeable stuff. He's a very educated guy. And I kind of lean towards that situation where, conquered imperialism, the spoils go to the victor, and that, and that's why I'm so very anti-war, because I just, I'm not a pussy, I'm not that. You push me and you're going to hurt me, or you're going to hurt my family, I'm going to go to war with you, but I'm not going to go to war and go invade your land because you've got food or oil or whatever. I mean, I guess if I was hungry or something, I'd go try to steal it or something. But I mean, I'm not going to go to war with you over it. And that's just kind of the way I feel, so that's kind of my take on.
That's what you got to understand. We have been competing against other forms of government that are against our way of life. Okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like communism and things like that. So, you've got to keep the resources away from them, as well as protecting for yourself.
Right.
Right. So I mean, it's a crazy game, right? So
it is a crazy game, but I mean,
and here's the thing too. I mean, like, the problem, when I was brought up, I was taught the problem with communism is it'll only work if the whole world is communist. Right? If there's capitalism anywhere, communism won't work because people why are you going to take what the state gives you when you see that I'm better than that and I can make more if I did it myself, right? So it's never going to work. Yeah, right. It's never going to work.
Yeah.
So I was ingrained in the way I was brought up in thinking that, we got to stop the expansion of communism. But then, then the people in like the Soviet Union, when there was a Soviet Union, they were suffering. It's like, of course, the politicians and the members of the political party of the Communist Party took care of themselves pretty well, but everybody else was suffering.
Yeah. I mean, kind of that's the way it works. And I mean, unfortunately, like I said, we've had this socialism, communism, freaking republic, and freedom conversation many, many times. But the way I feel is that if nobody wants to step on my ground, if my neighbor was communist, I don't care. I can live with a communist next door. I can live with the socialist across the street, and I can live with the freaking Democrat behind me and a Republican on the other side of me. I don't care.
You can't have a communist next door, dude. They don't exist. You'd have to be a communist country for you to have a communist.
I just don't believe.
And that would make you a communist.
I just don't believe that. But I mean, I think
the rest is good.
I'm in the coexist freaking realm of things, and I guess some people just aren't in the coexist because I think we really can. However, all these little governments and things, I just think that I mean, just let's take our own government, for instance. I mean, we're still you have 150 million people that went out and voted, and we're still 50-50. So you've got a population of over 326 million people that live in this great big huge country, and we've got one president or one representative that's supposed to represent all of us. And I just don't think, I think that time is past, man. I think it's gone. And I hate to say that, because but I think that's
what's wrong is we need like 5 parties.
Yeah, there you go. See, now there
because
you see.
Then you have to
now
work.
Dougie is for me. Exactly.
I've always
Well,
agreed with that.
I know you always been for me. I just think that the money has to be out of it. I mean, I just really
Yeah, no, I
believe
don't
that.
care about money. I don't care whatever. But if you had like 5 parties, each party has 20%,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You got to get at least 2 other parties to work with you to get shit done.
Right. Right. Right.
Right? No
Exactly.
party can take
Exactly. No
over.
party can
No,
take
no
over.
party can take over. Even if one's got 35% and two of them got 10% and two more got the rest. Right?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's what the
It,
beauty is with that. I mean, a lot of people are just going against it. I mean, Pennsylvania. I mean, I was talking to John the other day. We've been talking extensively back and forth. John is my Plexus associate, and he lives in Pennsylvania, and he's just screaming up and down because they took somebody took the Green Party off of the ballot. They didn't make the ballot. The Libertarians made all 50 states in the ballot. Actually, the Green Party made the ballot, and somebody did something, and all of a sudden the Green Party went off the ballot. Would it have made any difference? No, the Green Party got less than 0.001% of the vote, but still,
it
I think
probably
that
has
there's.
something to do with how many votes you get in the primary or
Yeah, but I
something.
don't care about that, man. I could care
No,
less if
because if
there's
nobody
20.
voted for you, you're nobody.
I just think, I mean, how many candidates were on our ballot? I think there was at least six or seven.
Otherwise,
I think there were
otherwise,
6 or 7 candidates on our ballot.
yeah, if you want everybody to be on the ballot, then we got to have 300 million names on the ballot,
Uh, I think I
right?
don't.
If you don't make a certain cut, you don't make the ballot. I'm sorry.
Well, then
Go
then it's
go
then
whack,
it's
go whack.
then it's time for ranked choice voting. Then I think that's kind of the way
Well, that helps. Yeah,
I
that
think that
always
helps
helps.
too. So there's got to
That
be
makes
some
things
kind
that
of.
makes things a little bit sloppy,
Yeah, there's going to be.
right?
I don't think it makes it any less sloppier than what we
I
got
remember
now.
when I started voting, the big thing was the party lever.
Yeah,
They want to
the
get rid of
part
the party lever.
the
They
party
want to get rid of
lever.
the party lever. Yeah, back in the good old days
I've never seen the party lever before.
when you went and pulled like you went like to a slot machine to vote.
Did
Yeah,
they
yeah.
really?
So
Did they
yeah,
really
so
have
they
a
had
party
little
lever?
yeah they had little clickers, right? You have little clickers for who you want to vote for. So there's little name and there's a switch underneath it. Right, you can pull that switch, that switch, that switch, that switch, that switch. Or if you just want to pull all of those switches, there's one on the side. That's the party lever.
Wow, too
Like
much,
all the Republicans on the top, all the Democrats on the bottom. You want to
too
pull
much.
if you want to vote all Democrat, you just go. You don't even have to look at it.
Let's pay a couple bills right now. Hey, the gut-brain connection is real, and plant-based supplements and probiotics are the connection that you need to help your body help itself. And for more information, why don't you email me, Bruce the Weathered Soul, at info dot in the pit of my stomach at gmail.com. And what I'll do for you is I'll contact you and we can get a little talk and see what kind of problems that you have going on with your gut that might be the reason why you have inflammation, why you have irritable bowel system or syndrome, and all kinds of other stuff that the snake oil, it's not snake oil, but what these plant-based supplements and these probiotics intake. I'm really a living proof that these things are working for me. I can tell you a testimony, half an hour long, but we don't have any time on this podcast to do that. But I wanted to let you know that I'm here to help you. I represent a company called Plexus worldwide, and I am here to sell you some products and give you a business opportunity that you will not believe. So if you have any questions about that, go ahead and send me an email, Bruce the Weathered Soul. Give me and just go to info in the pit of my stomach at gmail.com, and we can go do that. Also, we are also represented by anchor.fm. You can listen to us on anchor.fm every Wednesday. I drop the podcast that we do here on Monday nights, and you can go there and get us at anchor.fm/the Weathered Soul podcast. Go out and give us a comment, please. Somebody go out there and give us a star, 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, 5, a sad face, whatever you want to do. I don't care. Just go give us something because we really love you guys. We'd like to be able to go up in the ranks in iTunes, because iTunes is the place where everybody is still getting their podcasts. And we'd like you to go out there and give us a comment and a star rating. That'll move us up a little bit so more people know who we are. We're doing very good on YouTube. Doug. So just to let you know that's going really good. We've got a lot of listeners on YouTube. Our audio podcast is kind of fledgling right now, but that's just the way it is. We almost have enough money to go to Starbucks. So we'll almost be there. And other than that, that's about all I have for our commercial subjects for tonight, and that's where we're at, man. This is really good to be there. But what a
good news.
Yeah,
only 3 years to get a cup of coffee.
It's so fun doing this podcast, man. I really enjoy it. Some people have been ribbing on me
there's
lately.
There's something I want to say, though. No matter what we're talking about or how we're talking about or what's being said or what one's opinion is or the other opinion or how passionate we may be about them, we have never left this show sideways with each other, have we?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, never. I don't think so. Ever. Because I think we understand. I think we understand that we're both going towards the same thing. And we both want to be free. We both want to be happy. We both want our friends to be happy and our community to be happy and just the world to be happy. And we just, there's no doubt about it. Me and Dougie disagree on a lot of things, but when it comes down to it, we click glasses, we, took the pipe and, we're good to go. Right.
Well, yeah, because a lot of the stuff that we talk about is not part of our personal lives. It's part of our social or economic lives,
Right.
I mean, our beliefs are personal, but the things that drive our opinions are personal.
Yeah.
But what we talk about isn't like what kind of clothes you wear or how I shave or what it's not like. So it really doesn't. You know what I mean? We can talk about because it doesn't apply to us individually.
Right.
It applies to the world.
If it did, we'd be gone. But no, let me extenuate on that. Is that me and Dougie are not experts on anything. I mean, I call myself a weathered soul only because I've lived a long time. I'm 60 years old. I've lived through a lot of life. I've been through 11 of these elections now. So, or excuse me, not 11 of these. My first election was Reagan. That was my first election. But I've been through 11 presidents. That's what I've been through. So, I was born during the Kennedy era and stuff like that. So when I was actually, when I actually was growing up, I mean, I've seen these things, evolve, and kind of just what surprises me is in the political climate is what I saw when I was a kid, when I was 8, 9 years old, the Woodstock years, the Levin years, and seeing those same people, 50 years later, and it's totally different, man. It's just totally different. It's not about that anymore, and I don't know what something turned off or something, maybe the LSD was too strong. I don't know. But
no, it's a lot nicer driving in a Lexus than in a Volkswagen Vanagon. Chardonnay is a lot better than dandelion wine.
So let's take this last 15 minutes. I want to talk to you about this new vaccine that came out, because we haven't talked about COVID tonight. Me and Doug always talk about COVID. Pfizer came out with a vaccine tonight.
Oh, you're talking about that? Okay.
Yeah, Pfizer came out with a vaccine that they're claiming is more than 90% effective. I guess is this their last trial or something like that before they go to the FDA or something like that? Anyway, they're really on it, man. It took the freaking stock market through the roof and blah blah blah. Yeah. And Dougie's way into science, rightfully so, because science is how we get to where we're at. And I joke with Dougie a lot with the science and how we both agree about science, but my science is different than his science depending on who you're talking to and who you're listening to. But I also have a friend of mine, who actually is a doctor. His name is Dr. Eric Larson. And the only reason why me and him are close is because we share the fact that we both lost a child, due to to tragic situations. But he's a doctor, and somebody asked him a question about the vaccine today. So he wrote a little bit about it, and I want to share it with you, Dougie, because I think it comes together with what we've always been talking about together about how these vaccines, about what's going to happen with them. So he said, I had quite a few people ask me about these vaccines, so I'll weigh in briefly, and I'm going to actually put this up on the screen here real quick, and you can follow along with me, guys, if you want to. And let me get this here so we can see Dougie's pretty face here. Will they be safe?
I'm squinting to read it. Sorry.
He's squinting, but I'm reading it. Will they be safe? And almost certainly the vaccines, when approved by the FDA, will be safe. And it is a novel technique for delivering vaccinations through RNA, but this is how viruses work anyway. So although it is a unique way to spur on the immune response, it isn't anything particular that should be concerning. The vaccines have gone through usual trial process, but the FDA removed a lot of the administrative and the bureaucratic speed bumps that slow down so much of the use of the drugs. However, the phase 3 trials that show if the drug and the dose is safe and effective are proceeding as normal. The fact that the SARS-CoV-2 is spiking almost everywhere is making it easier to complete the trial, since it's more likely that people are getting exposed. This means we can see if the vaccine works against placebos. In short, when the vaccines are approved, I will not be worried about getting them for my family or me. And this comes from Eric Larson, and he has turned a big corner on this because he was kind of on the fence a lot before it. So who will get the vaccine? The testing has included adults who the testing has included adults only, so adults will be the first to get it. Only now are children 12 and 17 are being enrolled in phase 3 trials, and we will see how long that takes to complete. It might be a while. Anyway, I'm fairly sure that if you work in the healthcare or nursing home caring for the elderly, you will have to get the vaccine, and it'll be required for employment unless you have some kind of proof you have some rare immune disorder preventing you from getting the vaccine. And I doubt this will be a negotiable, much like the annual flu vaccine, which is really not negotiable. You really should get it. The elderly and those at risk must also get the vaccine first, and after that, it'll be the adults, and finally the children after the safety is established. That could be a long time down the road into 2021. Who knows? Concerns for the vaccine. The main question is that I've had for vaccines are what is the immune durability and how will it be distributed? Our knowledge of the most coronaviruses that are inherent immunity through antibodies wanes relatively quickly, usually within a year or 2 3 or so. We lose our antibodies to the viruses. Some viruses like mumps, we are immune to for life. Not so with the endemic coronaviruses, and there's no reason to think this one will be any different. We already have proof that people have been reinfected despite the virus being present in less than 10 months. It is almost certainly that we will need frequent booster shots to maintain our immunity unless the vaccine improves, and we won't really know the durability until time passes and the time to take the study. The second part of the distribution will be challenging. The current vaccines that are coming out first will require a booster after 1 month and have to be stored. This is important. Has to be stored in a minus 70 Celsius freezer. The storage issue will be tough since no medical facilities have storage facilities like that. And it will be concentrated at the county health departments and hospitals, making logistics for getting the shots tricky because remember, you have to do it twice in 1 month apart. And when you wait in line to be masked and stand 6 feet apart, it could be long lines. And I'm not going to go through the rest of it because it actually goes through stuff that me and you have actually talked about this before with the vaccines and stuff. And I think it's really encouraging because I'm not a big vaccine person, but I do get my flu shot every year. There's years that I've forgotten about it, but
Yeah.
And I paid for it. Like I said, last year I didn't get my 2 years ago I didn't get my flu shot, and I got pretty sick. This last year, me and you both had our flu shots, and we got really sick. So I mean, could have we got sicker? I don't know. you never know, but I don't want to take that chance. I definitely wouldn't want to run through this life without a polio vaccine or a mumps vaccine or a measles vaccine. So I mean, any of those things are dangerous.
Right. But those
So
vaccines are lifetime vaccines. COVID is like a flu shot.
yeah,
You
I
know,
think that's
that's the
exactly
problem.
what he was saying is that
Yeah.
I think what
Like, you
what
know
the
how
population is
cold.
going to have to the population is going to have to accept the fact that that's what this is going to be, and
Right.
I
And
know that's
do you know
important.
how cold? Do you know how cold -70 Celsius is?
That's really fucking cold.
That's more. That's like more than twice as cold as dry ice.
That's really fucking cold, dude.
Yeah, but it's almost that's like 170 something or 190 something Fahrenheit below
Yeah,
zero.
and I think it's time
It's incredible.
for all of us around the world to put our I'm not going to be for this new whatever agenda that Biden wants to come out with, this new everybody's going to wear a mask outside mandate and all this new lockdown stuff that presumably is going to happen. I'm not sure. We never know until freaking January 20th it's going to come around and he actually implements whatever they implement.
I
But you
doubt
know
they're
what?
gonna make a
Yeah,
mandate.
but
They're
I
just
think,
gonna they're just
but
gonna highly recommend it.
but here's what I want to say, and I think I think you've said this a lot. It's time to put our fucking big boy pants on. It really is. And this thing isn't going away. I love you, Josh. I know you're out there listening to me, and I know you don't believe in the Rona. I don't like the Rona, dude. I don't like to wear my mask. I won't wear my mask until I absolutely have to. I'm not scared to have people in my house because I break bread with them and stuff like that. But the fact is that sometimes we're going to have to put on our big boy pants and we're going to have to follow the rules of decent society. And decent society says right now that we've got to take care of everybody around us. And that's just the way things are. And we're just going to have to work together with all this stuff and try to beat this thing as well as possible. If that means we have to get vaccines once or twice a year to do this thing, maybe that's what we have to do. But I damn sure want that vaccine to be as safe as possible. I think everybody agrees with that.
Yeah, and there's been other viruses in history, believe it or not. This isn't the first virus that ever
Oh, no.
attacked a human body, and they've been dealt with, right? I mean, some of them pretty bad ways. Some had a high cost of life.
Mm.
Some of them were controlled by just isolating it. Right now at the rate that people are getting sick right now, it almost seems like it's going to be uncontrollable. I don't know what to say.
Well, me and you
It's like
disagree about sick. I mean, that's kind of the other thing is that
infected.
you're saying infection is sick, and I'm just saying infection is infection. So
Infected. I don't care. Let's say
whether you
infected.
want
I
to
don't give a
okay,
shit.
so a lot of people are getting infected. I mean, we can have this argument all day long, but
Yeah.
still,
So
what I'm
they're
saying,
infected. So now they can go get somebody else infected who could die.
yeah,
Period.
yeah,
Period.
okay.
No. Period. Yeah. Drop.
See, this is
Don't
where me and Dougie go. "Arr, arr, arr." But no,
don't make
is
me
correct.
get Lewis Black.
Get Lewis Black. I want to hear
Don't
Lewis.
make me go Lewis Black on you.
Not been on the show yet. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Lewis Black on the show today.
Go fuck yourself.
And this is a PG show. That was an R-rated show. Thank you very much, Dougie. But no, this upsets a lot of my libertarian people that I listen to. But freedom is shown by your personal responsibility. I'm a very strong believer in that. I mean, a huge believer in that. If there's anything that I believe in freedom and liberty, it's the fact that personal responsibility is the tops out there when we're talking about freedom and responsibility. So if you're going to be any type of freedom walker, you have to walk that walk. And that means I got to worry about my friend Doug and anybody who walks in my door, whether or not I'm going to infect them or they're going to infect me or anything like that. So we have to do whatever we can possible to make sure that people that are in the risk categories are protected as much as possible, because we don't want grandma to die. And I'm not a grandma killer, no matter what you think about me.
Yeah. And I don't want to have to be afraid of going out in public because there might be some idiot out there coughing and sneezing all over the place. It's like, I've got to work with a couple of crews of people, right? And business is growing. So we're bringing in new people. We're trying them, guy comes for a day, get rid of him. It didn't work out, bring in a new one, all this stuff. I'm really nervous about that. We had a nice little social bubble going in our business. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew where everybody was and what they were doing, and everybody was being safe. Now we're bringing in unknown quantities. So for me, it's like, I don't want to work with these guys. If I got to work with them, I'm going to have a mask on, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to be sanitizing all the time. I'm not going to be sharing their tools. I'm not going to be standing next to them with my head inside of a panel going, now you turn this screw like this. I mean, no.
Yeah.
Stick your head in there, turn the screw. If you can't do it, next.
Yeah. But you've got to be responsible just as much as they have to be responsible. And maybe you have to be a little bit more responsible than they do. Because you're the one that because you're the one that
has an allergy attack. One day somebody has an allergy attack, right? His face is lit up, his nose is red, he's coughing, dry cough, blowing his nose, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, run away.
Yeah, I would run away
Friggin'
too.
allergy attack, man.
First time that happens, I'm going home, dude. I told Lewis that, and I've told my boss that. I said, first time anybody has, I don't care if it's an allergy attack, a freaking asthma attack, they got a cold or whatever. I'm home, man. I'm gone. You call me in 14 days. And if that, if that doesn't, sit well with you, then I guess, I'll just sit at home with the rest of my employees. And that's what I'm going to do, because I really think that this is as jokingly as I talk about it sometimes. I do think that the virus is out there and it's for real. Is it as dangerous and deadly? No, I don't believe so. Like I said, we've had our arguments about that. Whatever
it is to some people.
It is to some people. Exactly, it is to some people. So I
don't know. I'm not one of them. I don't know. You're not one of them.
And I want to protect those who are the most vulnerable to it. And one of those people that.
How do you know who's vulnerable? Everybody from every walk of life, every stage of life, every profession, everything you can imagine has died from it at one time or another. There's no group that's immune or safe. Teenagers die from it.
Look at the halo.
Middle-aged people.
Look at the halo going over
old people
right now. Look at that.
People,
it's that big
people,
plate that's in back of Jesus' head.
All right. Chris Christie survived it, but
Chris Christie survived it. Goddammit! Check it out. Chris Christie survived it. Trump survived it.
But a 30-year-old, restaurant worker didn't.
Yeah, well, maybe he had,
Yeah. Maybe you want to play craps with your life, you go right ahead, but not with mine.
I play craps with my life every day. We play craps with our life every day, locking out the front door. But anyway, we're running up on time, and it's always too short. And I gotta say, hey, Dougie, man, this show is Dougie. We should really change this show to the Dougie Show. But
all right, wait a minute. Before you start spewing on me, I want to thank you for letting me have this opportunity with you. Okay.
I could, like I said, we started this show as like what was it, like 3 or 4 people, back in the first days of this show, and it whittled down to just me and you. And I couldn't be happier that this has happened. I can't wait for us to, actually be back in the studio, which is going to happen really soon. We're going to have our studio back, and we're going to be probably doing the same thing, here on the internet with the live thing. It's just we're going to be, face to face and looking at each other, and probably,
Bruce has just got to get he's got to get a wide angle camera so he'll be 6 feet apart.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the plexiglass is on order, right?
Yeah, the plexiglass is on order. I got the thin stuff for us.
We do it outside in the rain.
But there's a new tagline for the Weathered Soul podcast, and it's not squeezed from the bottom up anymore. It's be free, not as they permit, but as free as you can get away with. Say goodnight, Dougie.
Good night, Dougie. And
And good night, guys.
I got my freedom T-shirt for that one.
You guys have a good week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you guys for being here. And we are gone.